Snow drifted lazily past the window, dusting the streets of Brooklyn in a soft, quiet white. Inside her tiny apartment, Danielle Harris moved between the kitchen counter and the modest dining table, trying to make the space feel festive despite the heavy weight sitting on her chest. The glow of string lights reflected off her wine glass, untouched beside a plate of untouched roasted chicken, dry, overcooked. Another failed attempt to patch things up with Marcus. She fluffed the small red and green table runner, repositioned the candles, checked her phone again. 9:42 p.m. No message, no call, just silence. Her eyes drifted to the framed photo on the shelf, her and Marcus at Coney Island last summer. Wide smiles, sun-kissed skin, arms wrapped tight, like they couldn't imagine being apart. It felt like another lifetime. Now, every word between them was edged in suspicion and sharp pauses. The last fight had been the worst. Accusations flying, voices raised all over Marcus's late nights and Danielle's constant questions. Still, it was Christmas Eve. She wanted peace. She wanted something to feel normal. Her stomach twisted with hunger and nerves as she glanced at the burnt chicken again. "Forget this," she muttered, grabbing her phone. A friend had mentioned a new app, asterisk, Home Comfort eats real homemade meals, asterisk, the reviews were incredible. Tastes like your grandma cooked it. Perfect for lonely nights. 5 stars. Real home love in every bite. Funny though, there were no pictures of the chefs, no bios, just meals and praise. Desperation beat caution. Danielle scrolled through the menu. Creamy mac and cheese, smothered pork chops, cornbread, pure comfort food. She ordered without a second thought. As the confirmation popped up, she instinctively opened Instagram, fingers flicking past selfies and holiday posts. Her best friend Jada's story lit up at the top. She tapped it. Jada's face filled the screen, eyes wide, voice warning through the speaker, "You'll be careful who you ordering food from. People out here with personal beef cooking with asterisk malice." Asterisk Danielle let out a weak chuckle, shaking her head. Jada was always dramatic, probably hyping some TikTok conspiracy. Asterisk, people cooking with malice. What did that even mean? A knock at the door snapped her out of her thoughts. Her heart jumped. The food had arrived. The soft hum of holiday music played in the background, but it couldn't drown out the familiar ache settling in Danielle Harris's chest. She paced the small living room, nerves frayed, eyes darting between the door and her phone screen. The smell of burnt chicken still lingered, a bitter reminder of how hard she tried and how often it wasn't enough. Growing up, Danielle learned early that people left. Her mother had vanished when she was 7, walking out without a goodbye, without explanation, leaving Danielle and her father to fumble through the pieces. Her father remarried within a year, chasing stability, but it only deepened Danielle's distrust. His new wife, cool and distant, treated Danielle more like an obligation than a daughter. By high school, she'd built walls so high even she forgot how to climb over them. But then came Marcus. 3 years ago, she met him at a tech conference in Manhattan. Tall, ambitious, that effortless charm that made people lean in when he spoke. He made her laugh, made her feel seen in a way that chipped at those old walls. For the first time, Danielle let herself believe in something lasting. They moved fast. Dinners, vacations, whispered plans about rings and babies. Marcus always talked about the future like it was already written, but lately everything felt off. The late nights at work, the vague texts, the change in his eyes. like they were no longer looking at her, but through her. Rumors drifted in from mutual friends, whispers about another woman, casual mentions of him being seen at places he never told Danielle about. Jada, her best friend since college, had been relentless in her warnings. Jada, who never sugarcoated a damn thing, called Marcus's behavior for what it was, shady. But love made you blind, or maybe it just made you desperate. Danielle didn't want to start over. She didn't want to be the girl abandoned again, left to patch together the pieces of herself. That's why tonight mattered. She'd planned the dinner for weeks' homemade meal. Cozy setup, their favorite wine, a reset, a chance to find each other again before the new year. But like everything lately, it spiraled. The chicken burned, Marcus was hours late without a word, and her hope shriveled with every passing minute. And now, the food ordered from a stranger. Her hand hovered over the confirmation screen for a long beat before she clicked place order. Home Comfort eats real homemade meals. The name promised warmth, promised a slice of the security Danielle craved but couldn't find in Marcus anymore. The irony wasn't lost on her. Ordering comfort from a faceless app while her relationship cracked beneath her feet. Her phone buzzed with a new notification. Jada's story. The words echoed in her head as the video played. You'll be careful who you ordering food from. People out here with personal beef cooking with asterisk malice. Asterisk. Jada's blunt voice carried an edge of humor. But Danielle couldn't shake the uneasy twist in her gut. She hadn't told Jada about tonight, about the dinner, about ordering from a mystery kitchen because she couldn't bear another asterisk. Told you so, asterisk. Jada had been right about so many things, especially Marcus, but Danielle wasn't ready to let go. Not yet. Even if she felt invisible these days, even if Marcus's arms felt colder, his promises thinner. The doorbell rang. Danielle's pulse spiked. She straightened her sweater, ran a hand through her curls, and told herself this was just food. Just dinner. But somewhere deep inside, under the longing and fear, a whisper warned. Nothing tonight was as simple as it seemed. A knock echoed through the apartment, sharp against the quiet hum of Christmas lights. Danielle hurried to the door, nerves jangling. The delivery guy stood there, young hoodie pulled tight around his face, eyes downcast. He didn't meet her gaze, barely mumbled order for Danielle before shoving the insulated bag toward her. His hands trembled slightly as he passed it over. Thanks, she started. But he was already retreating down the hall, walking fast, head low, like he couldn't get away quick enough. Weird. She closed the door, locking it behind her, and set the bag on the table. The rich aroma hit her instantly. Smoky jollof rice, tender spicy turkey, perfectly caramelized plantains. Her stomach growled in protest, but confusion flickered. She didn't remember choosing specific dishes. In fact, she barely looked. At the menu, just clicked chef's special comfort plate. Still, it looked incredible. Neatly packed containers, garnishes placed with care, every detail thoughtful. It smelled familiar to familiar. The key rattled in the lock. Danielle jumped as Marcus stepped inside, tall frame shadowing the doorway. His expression was tight, jaw clenched, eyes darting over the table setup, the food containers. Snow clung to his coat, his face flushed from the cold, or maybe from something else entirely. Hey, Danielle greeted softly, forcing a smile. Tension coiled in her gut. I ordered dinner. From this new app. You were running late. Marcus barely registered her words, gaze zeroing in on the open container of jollof rice. The glistening plantains, the turkey glistening under a layer of sauce. His entire body stiffened. They sat at the table, the silence suffocating. Danielle scooped rice onto a plate, pushing it toward him, trying to salvage the night. He hesitated, eyes narrowing, but eventually took a forkful. The second the food hit his tongue, his entire demeanor cracked, his face contorted, not in disgust, but in recognition. His pupils dilated, the color drained from his cheeks. The fork clattered against the plate, hand trembling. Where did you get this? Food. Marcus's voice was low, strangled. Danielle's brows knitted together. I told you, new up, home comfort eats. She tilted her phone toward him, the confirmation screen still open. What's going on? Marcus ran a shaky hand over his mouth, eyes darting like he was calculating an escape route. Under his breath, barely audible, he muttered, It's her, it's Jade. Danielle's stomach twisted. Jada, her voice rose with confusion. My best friend, she sent this. Marcus shook his head, horror flashing across his features. No, not Jada. His throat bobbed as he swallowed hard. Jade, the name sliced through the room like a blade. Danielle's pulse hammered. Jade, who, Marcus's gaze locked onto hers, guilt pouring out like a cracked dam. Jade Westbrook. The pieces crashed into place. Danielle had heard the name before, whispered at the tail end of drunken arguments, half-admitted confessions, buried under apologies. Jade Westbrook. Marcus's ex. The one he ghosted. The one he cheated on. The one who disappeared after their messy breakup, vowing to make him pay. Danielle's eyes flicked back to the food. The meal so perfectly crafted to Marcus's tastes. Spicy turkey, smoky jollof, sweet plantains, just the way he always raved about. Only one woman knew his favorites down to the spice levels. Only one woman who cooked like this, and now, that same woman had found her way into Danielle's apartment, into their dinner, hidden behind an anonymous app. Her mouth went dry, heart pounding so hard it rattled her ribs. You're telling me your ex cooked this? The woman you cheated on? The one you ghosted? Marcus didn't answer. He didn't have to. His haunted expression said it all. Danielle's blood ran cold as the ugly truth settled over the room. This wasn't a meal, it was a message. The room shrank in around Danielle, the cozy apartment now suffocating under the weight of unanswered questions and the thick scent of spiced rice and plantains. Her pulse thundered in her ears as Marcus paced the narrow space between the table and the door, his hands raking through his hair, eyes darting with a wild, cornered look. She said she disappeared. He muttered under his breath, voice shaky, more to himself than to her. She promised she was done. She vanished. Danielle's stomach twisted into knots so tight they threatened to snap. Her fingers hovered near the food container, suddenly seeing it differently, not a comforting homemade meal, but a calculated symbol, a warning, a message, wrapped in flavor and familiarity. Start talking, Danielle demanded, voice cracking under the pressure of her spiraling thoughts. All of it now. Marcus stopped pacing, rubbing his palms over his face, then turned to her with an expression she barely recognized, fear, regret, desperation simmering beneath the surface. It was years ago. Before you, he began, voiced low, strained. Jade and I, we were serious. Met at a networking event, clicked instantly. She was intense, passionate, smart as hell, but she had this edge, possessive, controlling. The more I tried to pull back, the harder she held on. Danielle folded her arms, skepticism hardening her features. Possessive. So you cheated, ghosted her, and she's the crazy one. Marcus's mouth twisted. It wasn't that simple. I messed up bad. We fought constantly. I was traveling. For work, meeting people, and yeah, I got caught up. There were other women. I thought ending it clean would make it worse, so I disappeared, changed my number, blocked her, everything. Danielle's chest tightened, a bitter laugh escaping. Her lips, and you told me you'd never cheat. You swore your past was drama-free. You lied to me. It wasn't supposed to matter, Marcus shot back, frustration bleeding into his tone. You and me. I wanted a clean slate. I didn't think she'd ever what? Danielle cut in, eyes blazing. Show up, send you a poisoned dinner wrapped in nostalgia. You've been lying to me, Marcus. And now I'm supposed to eat this. What? Revenge, rice, malicious mac and cheese. Her voice cracked on the edge of hysteria, the surreal absurdity of the night pressing down on her like a fog. Marcus grabbed her shoulders gently, trying to steady her, but she recoiled, the contact burning like betrayal. The phone buzzed on the counter, Jada's name flashing across the screen. Danielle snatched it up, still trembling. Hey, girl. Jada's voice came through, casual but laced with her usual sharp instinct. You order from that sketchy food app. I saw your IG story earlier. Couldn't tell if you were joking. Danielle's throat went dry. She hadn't posted anything, but her location had been tagged automatically when she confirmed the delivery. She swallowed hard, voice barely steady. Yeah, I did. Be careful, Jada pressed, her tone darkening. I've been hearing things. Shady vendors, people with grudges hiding behind fake kitchen names, folks cooking with spite, literal bad energy. I know it sounds dumb, but it's real. You good? Danielle's eyes flicked to Marcus, his pale face, the sweat beading at his temple. His jaw clenched like the walls of his world were caving in. She forced her voice steady. I'm fine. I'll call you later. Hanging up, Danielle turned. Back to Marcus, the weight of the moment sinking deeper. Her mind churned with every lie he'd spun, every half-truth tucked into their late-night talks, every promise made under false pretenses. You lied about everything, she whispered, voice cracking like glass. About Jade, about your past. You let me sit here, thinking we were building something real, while your baggage, your lies are showing up at my damn door. Marcus's shoulders sagged, his eyes pleading. I love you, Donnie. I wanted to leave all that behind, but Jade, she doesn't forget. She doesn't forgive. If she's back, this isn't just about me anymore. The once cozy apartment now felt like a trap, the flickering candles casting shadows on the walls, the food growing cold on the table, untouched. What was meant to be their fresh start had curdled into suspicion, fear, and the realization that the foundation of their relationship had been cracking long before tonight. Danielle's hands shook as she pushed the food away, her appetite drowned beneath betrayal and dread. The spicy scent of jollof rice clung to the air, now a bitter reminder that love built on secrets always tastes different when the truth finally shows up. Another knock rattled the door, sharp and deliberate this time, slicing through the suffocating silence like a blade. Danielle's breath caught in her throat, her gaze snapping to Marcus, whose face drained of what little color remained. He didn't need to say a word, his wide, panicked eyes said it all. Danielle moved before he could stop her, feet heavy. As she crossed the room, pulse hammering against her ribs, she opened the door slowly. And there she stood, Jade Westbrook. In the flesh, she was taller than Danielle expected, poised with an effortless confidence that made the cramped hallway seem like her personal stage. Her dark curls framed sharp cheekbones, full lips curved into the faintest smirk, the kind of expression that made it clear she was exactly where she intended to be. In her hands, another food tray, beautifully packaged, like some twisted holiday offering. "Hi, Donnie," Jade greeted, her voice smooth, cool, with an undertone sharp enough to cut glass. "Mind if I come in? You've got my Tupperware." Danielle's throat went dry. Her fingers curled around the doorframe, frozen between slamming it shut and demanding answers. But her body moved aside before her mind could catch up, Jade sweeping in like she owned the space. Marcus stumbled toward them, his mask of composure cracking entirely now. "Jade, oh save it," Jade snapped, setting the tray on the table with calculated ease. She turned, facing them both, eyes gleaming with quiet satisfaction. 3 years, Marcus. 3 years of silence. You disappeared like I was nothing. Ghosted me after promising forever, after sharing my bed, my life, my recipes. Her gaze flicked to Danielle, her smile growing colder. "And now you've replaced me. Cute." Danielle's head spun, the apartment tilting under the weight of every revelation. The pieces clicked into place, the perfectly crafted meal, the familiarity in every spice, every bite designed to stir old ghosts. Home Comfort Eats wasn't some faceless vendor. It was her, Jade, hiding behind a false name, orchestrating this moment with the precision of someone who'd spent months watching, waiting. "You run the app," Danielle whispered, horror blooming across her face. Jade nodded, unapologetic. "Of course. You'd be amazed how easy it is to reinvent yourself. New name, new business, same bitterness fueling every order." Her eyes never left Marcus. "I've been tracking you for months. Your socials, your girls' posts, your predictable little life." She tilted her head at Danielle. "I have to admit, Donnie, you photograph well. Almost makes up for your taste in men." Marcus stepped forward, fists clenched. "What the hell do you want, Jade? You think this is funny? You think stalking me, playing these games, makes you the victim?" Jade's laugh was low, bitter. "Victim? Oh, sweetheart. I was the victim 3 years ago now. I'm just thorough." She gestured to the untouched food still steaming on the table. "Relax. No poison, no dramatics. That's not my style. This," she pointed between them, "this is psychological warfare. You left me broken, Marcus, humiliated. You walked away like I never existed. So I figured, let me serve you a taste of your own betrayal. Let me remind you what you discarded." Danielle's hands shook at her sides, the walls closing in. Her gaze bounced between Marcus and Jade. Betrayal layered on betrayal until it was impossible to breathe. "You both lied to me." Danielle's voice cracked, raw and trembling. "You," she jabbed a finger at Marcus, "sold me some fantasy about trust, love, while your skeletons were piling up behind my back. And you," she turned to Jade, venom threading her words, "you weaponized me. My home, my table." Jade's expression softened for a fraction of a second, sympathy peeking through the venom. "I didn't want you hurt, Donnie, not really, but you needed to see him for who he is. And Marcus," her smile returned, sharper than ever, "he needed to squirm." Marcus opened his mouth, but Jade raised a hand, silencing him. "You'll twist the narrative, Marcus. You always do." But tonight, the truth's on the table, and the best part, you served yourself. With that, Jade grabbed her empty tray, adjusted her coat, and walked toward the door, victorious. Every step punctuated with finality. She paused at the threshold, her eyes finding Danielle's one last time. "You deserve better," she said, simply, then slipped out into the snow-dusted hallway, gone as quickly as she came. The door clicked shut. Danielle's legs buckled beneath her, the room spinning, the holiday lights flickering like cruel reminders of the evening she'd tried so hard to salvage. The food cooled on the table, untouched, symbolic like their relationship, now exposed for the mess it truly was. Everything shattered, and nothing tasted the same. The apartment felt colder now, the leftover scent of spiced rice and betrayal, clinging to the air like smoke after a fire. Danielle stood by the window, arms wrapped around herself as the snow drifted past the glass, quiet and relentless. Her reflection stared back at her, eyes rimmed red, face flushed from anger and shock, but beneath the hurt, something new stirred, something solid. Marcus paced behind her, words tumbling out in frantic, useless loops, apologies, excuses, half-truths woven with desperation. He tried to explain, to justify, to reshape the story like he always did, controlling the narrative, softening his sins. But tonight, his words couldn't find her. She let him talk, his voice fading into background noise, her heart already stepping away from him, from everything they built on cracks and false promises. "Stop," she finally said, her voice low but steady, slicing through the chaos. Marcus froze, the weight of finality hanging between them. "This isn't love," Danielle continued, turning to face him fully now, eyes sharp, clear. "Whatever we've been doing, pretending, covering, clinging to half-truths, it's not love. And I'm done shrinking myself to keep your secret safe." The tremor in his expression said he didn't expect her strength, didn't recognize it, but she did. She'd found it buried beneath every moment of self-doubt, every ignored red flag, every time she chose comfort over clarity. Without another word, she walked to the table, grabbed her phone, and dialed the one person who never sugarcoated. Truth.jada picked up on the first ring, concern etched in her voice. "Donnie, you okay?" Danielle exhaled, shaky but grounded. "Not yet," she admitted, "but I will be." She told Jada everything, the food, Jade, the confrontation, the web of lies finally unraveling. Jada listened, offering steady, quiet support without the typical "I told you so." Because real friends don't gloat when your heart breaks, they anchor you through it. "Proud of you," Jada said softly when Danielle finished. "It's hard, choosing yourself. But you did." Danielle's throat tightened. But this time it wasn't from heartbreak, it was from release. She hung up and looked around the apartment, the holiday decorations now feeling temporary, the space heavy with endings. But endings, she realized, made room for beginnings. Her hand hovered over the meal still sitting untouched. Not poisoned, but tainted, just the same, with history, manipulation, deception. She tossed it into the trash, watching it disappear without hesitation. Marcus tried once more, voice breaking. "Danielle, please," but she cut him off with a raised hand. "No more, Marcus. You chose lies, I'm choosing me." And with that, she grabbed her coat, stepped into the quiet snowfall, and let the cold sting her cheeks, reminding her she was alive, whole, capable. Heartbreak would ache, but it wouldn't break her. Not this time, never again. Weeks later, the apartment, felt different, quieter, lighter, her space stripped of the false comfort that once weighed it down. The holiday decorations were gone, replaced by small reminders of her rebuilding, fresh flowers on the table, new curtains framing the window, a calm, steady energy filling the air. Danielle sat at the table alone, but for the first time, the silence wasn't suffocating, it was hers. She scrolled through her phone, hovering over food delivery apps with practiced caution. This time, no mysterious vendors, no hidden motives disguised as home-cooked meals. She clicked on a reputable, transparent spot she'd vetted, read the reviews twice, checked the chef's profile, and placed her order. The food arrived simple, comforting, no hidden agendas tucked between the flavors. She sat down, fork in hand, the steam curling upward like a quiet promise of better days. With each bite, she tasted something new, not just good food, but control, clarity, choice. A soft smile curved her lips as she chewed, the lessons still fresh, woven through every cautious step forward. Asterisk, be careful who you trust and where your food comes from. Asterisk, her phone buzzed beside her. Jada's name lighting up the screen. Jada, asterisk, just checking in, warrior, you good? Asterisk, Danielle's smile deepened, warmth blooming through her chest. Her fingers flew across the screen. Danielle, I'm good, finally. Outside, snow drifted past the window, quiet and constant, blanketing the street below in fresh white. Danielle stood, pulling the window closed, sealing out the cold but not the world. She was still here, standing, stronger, wiser, and this time she wasn't ignoring the signs. The snow kept falling, the city kept moving, and Danielle, she finally felt ready.